Hi class, welcome to another week of learning. I hope you all had a fabulous weekend. So let's get straight to it. Okay, so this week we are still learning about ecosystems, and yes, we're still learning about the living things within ecosystems, but now we're going to dig a little deeper and learn about adaptations, okay? But before I even get started with the lesson, I want to ask you a question. How do you think animals are able to survive, or what things allow animals to be able to survive? So if you answered that they have different physical features or physical traits that help them survive, then you answered correctly, okay? So like I said, today we're going to be learning about adaptations, what an adaptation is, the different types of adaptations, and we're also going to learn how those adaptations help animals survive and thrive in their environment. But before we get started and really digging deeper, we really have to have a really good understanding of what the word adaptation means. So an adaptation is any trait that helps a living thing survive, okay? So, for example, let's take a look here at this tiger. So when we look at this tiger, and you can find this in your Science Fusion on page 510, see this tiger right here. Let's take a look at the tiger's teeth. We see that this tiger has these very sharp teeth, and then you see that these two right here are very long, okay? These teeth are considered an adaptation. They help this tiger survive, okay? Because these sharp teeth make it easier for this tiger to catch its prey and to be able to grind the meat that it eats, okay? We also see here this jackrabbit, okay? You think about the rabbits that we're used to seeing. Typically, the rabbits that we're used to seeing have longer ears, but this jackrabbit has shorter ears, okay? These shorter ears are an adaptation because these shorter ears don't release a lot of heat. Therefore, jackrabbits are able to survive in the cooler climates that they live in because they're able to stay warmer because of their shorter ears, okay? So those are just two of the many examples of adaptations and things or these physical characteristics or traits that help animals survive in their environments, okay? Now, we're also going to see that there are certain adaptations that help animals defend themselves or fight against predators or keep predators away from them, okay? For example, a porcupine. We're all familiar with porcupines, okay? So let's just take a look at this porcupine right here. So typically whenever we see a porcupine, these quills are actually flat, but when a porcupine feels threatened, they raise their quills, okay, so that if the predator gets too close, these quills will poke the predator, and that's very painful, right? Or if the predator sees those quills ahead of time, it scares them off, protecting the porcupine, okay? And another example, this is one that I like to use as well, is this frilled lizard that hisses, okay? So again, if this lizard feels threatened, okay, it hisses, but you also see that it opens its jaw like this to where it looks very creepy, okay? So this right here is what this lizard will do when it feels threatened by a predator, and this right here will scare the predator off and keep the predator away, okay? This is an adaptation as well, but these are defense mechanisms. These are adaptations that help animals defend themselves, okay? And in turn, it keeps them alive. Now, of course, we can't talk about adaptations without talking about camouflage and mimicry. You've probably heard of camouflage, but even then, we're still going to review it. So camouflage is the coloring, marking, or other physical appearance of an organism that helps it blend with its surroundings. In other words, camouflage just helps animals blend in the area that it's in. Okay, so I'm going to show you one example of camouflage. So let's take a look at this snow leopard. Okay, you can barely see the snow leopard because it's blending in with its surrounding environment with the rocks. Okay, this snow leopard is camouflaging itself. Okay, it's blending in with its environment or the surrounding areas within its environment. Okay, this is an adaptation. This camouflage allows for the snow leopard to survive because, one, it will keep predators away from it because they won't be able to see it, but two, also the prey that this snow leopard is trying to catch will not see it. Okay, so it makes it easier for the snow leopard to catch its prey. Okay, so that's another survival tactic. Another type of adaptation as well is called mimicry. So if you listen to that base word mimic, okay, mimic means that you're copying something or imitating something. That's all mimicry is, okay? Mimicry is, in this case, imitating the look of another animal, okay? So it's just an animal looking like another animal. But in this case, we see that with mimicry, the animal will imitate an animal that's maybe more harmful, okay? Okay, mimicry is, again, a survival tactic. It protects and helps animals survive because if a predator is wanting to possibly attack that animal that's able to mimic another harmful animal, the predator won't know the difference and it will leave that animal alone. So mimicry